From homeless to millionaire, a black man's journey in the age of Elon Musk and Donald Trump. The city was drenched. Streets slick with rain reflected the neon lights flickering like ghosts in the dark puddles. Thunder rolled overhead, threatening to tear the night apart. In the middle of this chaos, Claire sat on the creaky steps of a run-down apartment building. Her hands trembled, gripping her phone with sweaty fingers, eyes locked on a message that had just popped up. The screen glowed, a cryptic note from Elon Musk himself. No sender ID, just a string of numbers and words promising life-changing chances. Opportunities she couldn't afford to ignore. Claire's chest tightened, like a fist squeezing her lungs. She'd been drowning in rent debt, buried under bills, and watching her dreams slip through her fingers like sand. Yet here it was, a digital whisper from one of the most powerful men alive, tempting her with a key to a door she had no idea even existed. Who else had gotten? Questions spun wildly in her mind. Her heart thudded painfully as the rain hammered down harder, each drop like a countdown, ticking closer to some unknown deadline. San Francisco's restless crowd moved past without noticing Claire's pale face framed by her soaked hair. Around her, sirens wailed in the distance, and a group of late-night revelers laughed sharp and jagged under the dim glow of a cracked street lamp. The city seemed alive, but Claire felt frozen. Her past whispered ugly secrets. Her father's name, shadowy and erased, haunted her. Was he really the man she thought she knew? Or was this message the thread that would unravel everything? Her finger hovered over the screen. A sudden gust slammed a metal trash can nearby, making her jump. Claire swallowed the lump in her throat and stood, swallowing doubt like bitter medicine. Behind her, a mysterious figure lurked in the fog, eyes unreadable under a soaked hoodie. Claire didn't know it yet, but that stranger was red. Time was slipping through Claire's fingers. Hours left. Choices lying on a knife's edge. Risk it all and step into a brutal game of hidden identities and fierce alliances. Or run back into shadows where pain felt safer. Her fingers tingled with electric fear and flickers of hope. This wasn't just a message. It was a door to a cold and dangerous world. And she was about to walk right through it. As she finally pressed open, the storm outside broke wild, a scream lost in the thunder. Was this the moment she dreamed of? Or the start of something that would shatter her reality forever? Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important warning. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube removed their subscriptions without notice. Take a quick look at the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I don't want you to miss any exclusive content that's coming. And since you're here, drop a powerful like that really helps me with the algorithm. Oh, and let me know in the comments, what city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's interact. As she finally pressed open, the storm outside broke wild. A scream lost in the thunder. She gasped as the screen filled with a bold, stark message. Meet me at the corner of Pine and 5th. Midnight! Her breath caught. This was it. This was the game changer. But before she could process it, a sudden heat gripped her chest. The figure behind her stepped closer. Claire turned, heart pounding. The hoodie slipped back, revealing a young man with piercing green eyes, sharp features, and a lopsided grin that sent chills down her spine. "Claire, right?" he asked, voice smooth but edged with something darker. "Who are you?" she stammered, the phone slipping from her grasp, falling to the rain-slick ground. The screen shattered. A tiny crystalline explosion. "I've been watching you." He leaned closer, and she caught the scent of something familiar, something unsettling. "You're always looking for your father." Her heart raced. "What do you know about that?" His grin widened, almost mocking. "More than you think. You see, your father was more than a ghost. He was part of something big, a network, a power play. Everything you thought you knew, it was just the surface. And then everything shifted. The air thickened, heavy with revelations hanging just out of reach. Claire's breath hitched. What do you mean? But just as he opened his mouth to speak, a blinding flash lit up the night. Claire's eyes squinted against the brilliance. A loud bang followed, shaking the ground beneath her feet. She stumbled, adrenaline flooding her veins. People screamed in distant horror. "No!" the young man shouted, panic flashing across his features. "We need to go, now!" He grabbed her wrist with a grip like steel, pulling her toward the alley. The world around her blurred, lights danced in front of her eyes. She didn't understand what was happening. Behind them, chaos erupted. A black sedan screeched around the corner, its headlights washing over Claire's face. The car halted, doors flung open. Two men dressed in dark suits emerged, faces hard and tense. "Get them!" one shouted, voice laced with urgency. Claire's pulse thundered in her ears. She tore her gaze from them and locked eyes with the stranger who held her. "What is going on?" "Trust me." He yanked her closer, but his grip was suddenly less reassuring. There was something else in his eyes now. Betrayal? Fear? It made her stomach churn. With one last frantic look over her shoulder, she tore herself free, bolting toward the corner of Pine and Fifth, where a figure stood beneath a flickering street lamp. But the figure wasn't alone. A silhouette emerged from the shadows, a woman with long hair framing her familiar face. Claire's heart dropped. "Mom, is that really you?" Time froze. Her mother stepped forward, panic flickering behind her eyes. "Claire, you shouldn't be here!" "What is happening?" Claire shouted, disoriented, caught between two worlds that had never seemed so close, yet so far apart. "I can explain," her mother said, desperation clawing at her voice. But the two men were getting closer. Claire could feel the gravity of truth swirling around her, threatening to pull her under. Torn between the past she thought she understood and the peril of the present, Claire stood gasping. She had no idea who to trust anymore. Shadows danced around her, and the edges of her world started to crumble. The young man watched, eyes wide, mouth opening and closing as if he wanted to speak but couldn't find the words. The air crackled with tension. Moments felt like hours as Claire stood suspended, adrenaline and uncertainty swirling. What was real? What was a lie? And before she could decide, a sudden cracking sound echoed through the night. A gunshot! Everything shattered! A scream erupted, and Claire's heart screamed for answers that might never come. The moment Claire pressed open, her heart thundered like the storm above, sending a jolt through her body. The screen flickered as new information flooded in. A video link! A tingle raced up her spine. She dared to click it. The screen brightened, revealing a shadowy room. In the center, a man sat behind a sleek desk, his face half hidden in dim light. Claire squinted, breath hitching as she tried to process what she was seeing. The figure leaned closer to the camera, and suddenly, her breath caught. It was Musk himself! "Claire," he said, his voice smooth, charming, yet unsettling, "you're special. You were chosen for something monumental." Her mind swirled. Chosen? Just then, the sound of heavy footsteps echoed, pulling her attention away from the screen. The figure in the hoodie closed in, blocking her escape. Heart racing, Claire turned to warn him. But before she could speak, the man lunged, snatching her phone and shoving her to the ground. A phone slipped from her grasp as she tried to fight back. Rain mingled with the warmth of her tears. The figure's eyes glinted coldly, full of fury, as if her ambitions were nothing but a joke. "Did you really think you could change your fate?" He snarled, his grip tightening around her arm. "Stop! You don't know what you're doing," she gasped, fear coursing through her veins. "Don't I?" he shot back, releasing her just long enough to flip the phone open and reveal Musk's message. "You think he's really going to help you? You have no idea what's coming." The luxurious facade shattered as he tossed the phone aside. It clattered to the pavement, the screen darkening, leaving Claire breathless with panic. But then, something in her gut twisted. As the man stomped on the phone, an incoming call lit up the screen. A name she couldn't believe. Dad. Claire froze, the world around her spinning into kaleidoscopic chaos. Her father was gone. He had disappeared years ago, leaving nothing but shadows and whispers. Why was he calling now? In a flash, the man's expression shifted from rage to shock. "What the hell?" he murmured, stepping back as if he'd seen a ghost. "Is that really him?" Claire whispered, heart racing, still grounded, thoughts crashing like waves. "I thought he was dead," he spat, confusion blending with rising anger. "This changes everything." Claire's chest tightened. She wanted to scream. This was not happening. Her father, the one piece of her past she thought was buried for good, was somehow connected to this madman, and even worse, to Elon Musk. The possibilities flooded her mind, twisting into knots of anxiety and fear. Before she could gather her thoughts, the man clenched his fists and stepped forward again. "Listen, kid, you don't know what you stumbled into. Musk's offers, they're dangerous, and your father is the key to it all. You're in way over your head." "Wait, where is he?" Claire demanded, her voice suddenly stronger. "What do you know?" The man opened his mouth, hesitation flickering across his face. But then he shook his head, turning away. "Hey, get back here!" Claire shouted, lungs burning. She pushed herself up, adrenaline surging. She fought a mix of hope and dread as she stumbled after him. The storm raged on, but she had a new fire igniting within her. She had to find the truth behind her father's disappearance, the secrets buried beneath lies. The thief turned back, a fresh madness in his eyes. "You want the truth? You may not like it, but there's no going back now," he sneered before vanishing into the rain-soaked night. Claire felt the weight of everything crushing her down. What secrets had her father hidden? What was she about to uncover? The storm continued to howl around her, but urgency surged within her veins. This was just the beginning, and she had to know the ending. Claire stumbled through the rain, desperate to catch up with that shadow of a man. Her breath came in ragged gasps, each heartbeat pounding in her ears. She couldn't shake the shock of hearing her father's name. What was happening? Why was he suddenly a part of this nightmare? The city blurred around her, neon lights melting into a soggy haze. Echoes of chaos danced through the air, sirens wailing in the distance. Fear clawed at her stomach, but she had to keep moving. There was something she had to understand, something tethered to her past that felt like it was reaching out, pulling her closer. She rounded a corner, eyes darting, the rain stinging her cheeks. Just a glimpse of him would be enough. But there was no sign of the man in the hoodie. The alley lay silent, shadows stretching across the concrete. Claire's heart raced. Had he vanished like smoke? "Hey, where are you?" she shouted into the stillness, her voice breaking through the rain. But then, from behind her, she heard soft footsteps. She spun around, half expecting the worst. Instead, it was the familiar figure of her mother, soaked to the bone and frantic. "Claire!" her mother exclaimed, breathless, eyes wide. "You shouldn't be here!" "Why are you here?" Claire shot back. "What's going on? Where's Dad?" Her mother's face contorted in panic. I don't know everything, but you need to listen to me." "Listen? Why should I trust you?" Claire's voice trembled, the hurt bubbling up, raw and demanding. "You kept so much from me." "It's because of you, because I had to protect you from the truth." Her mother's voice rose above the storm, desperation lacing every word. "What truth?" Claire asked, voice shaking. Just then, a blaring horn pierced the night. Claire turned, her heart sinking as headlights sliced through the darkness. A black sedan barreled down the street, screeching to a halt. The doors flung open, and those men in suits from earlier sprang out. Determination set in their eyes. "Get her!" one shouted, his voice booming. Fear washed over Claire. She grabbed her mother's arm, pulling her back. "Run! We need to go!" But her mother was frozen, eyes glued to the approaching figures, fear shimmering in the rain. Then, unexpectedly, her mother cried out, "Claire, wait!" In that moment, something deep inside Claire shifted. "What?" she spat back, frustration bubbling over. "I know your father. He's not what you think." Just as the words slipped from her mother's lips, a blinding light erupted, illuminating the street. Claire squinted, shielding her eyes. It wasn't just headlights, it was a spotlight. On a nearby rooftop, a figure emerged, silhouetted against the stormy sky. It was the man in the hoodie, but this time he wasn't alone. Next to him stood another figure, a woman Claire recognized immediately. "Dad?" Claire gasped, voice cracking. The figure raised a hand, and suddenly, Claire felt her world tilt. The woman... No, it couldn't be. "Mom?" Claire's breath caught in her throat. "Yes, sweetheart, it's me," the woman said, pain etched deep in her features. "But I had to forget, to protect you from him." "What are you saying?" Claire's heart raced, confusion and horror mixing. She grasped her mother's arm tighter. "Your father isn't just gone. He's dangerous!" Just then, the men in suits drew closer, and everything felt like it was collapsing. The figure in the hoodie pulled out something shiny from his pocket. A gun! No! Claire screamed, the world around her erupting into chaos. But just as everything seemed hopeless, the man with the gun lowered it, staring right at Claire. You should have never come here, kid. You've broken the rules. With that, the storm roared louder, drowning Claire's thoughts in fear. What had she stumbled into? And what truth was about to unfold? She could feel the ground shift beneath her feet. It was all about to change, and she had to prepare for whatever came next. As Claire pressed open, a bolt of lightning sliced through the sky, illuminating the street for a heartbeat. The rain fell with rage now, each drop pounding like a judgment at her feet. Heart racing, she took a sharp breath, ready to embrace whatever awaited her behind that digital door. But then, her phone buzzed again. Another message. This one felt different. With trembling fingers, she scrolled. It read, "You're in danger. Trust no one. Look behind you." That simple sentence ignited a wildfire of panic in her chest. The city, once just an indifferent backdrop, morphed into a stage set for chaos. The fog thickened around her as she turned, heart hammering so hard she thought it might burst. The figure she had sensed earlier now stepped closer, a shadow peeling away from the gloom. Claire's heart dropped. The face beneath the soaked hoodie was familiar, too familiar. It was Marcus, her childhood best friend, the boy who had vanished years ago, without a trace, the one she had mourned, the one she thought she'd never see again. Claire, he breathed out like a ghost. His eyes glimmered, desperately searching hers for recognition, for comfort, but all she felt was fear. You have to listen to me. You're being watched. Watched? Why, who? Claire's voice cracked, her safe world unraveling in front of her like a cheap costume. The rain splattered down harder, drenching the moment in tension. Doesn't matter. You can't trust anyone. He stepped forward, urgency tearing at his features. Not Musk, not anyone. You really don't know the half of it. Suddenly, a sharp, metallic clang rang out. Claire whipped around to see a black SUV grinding to a halt across the street. The doors flung open, and figures in all black clothing spilled out like ants, ready to swarm. They were too precise, too disciplined. "Run!" Marcus shouted, grasping her arm, pulling her into the shadows of the alley. They dashed behind a dumpster as the sound of heavy boots echoed closer. Fear crackled in the air, mingling with rain-soaked adrenaline. "Marcus, what's happening?" Claire gasped, nerves screaming as the threat loomed just inches away. "I'll explain later, I promise, but we don't have time." The urgency in his voice only heightened her dread. One part of her wanted to believe him, while another screamed that he was tangled in something deadly. The SUV's headlights swept the alley, illuminating their hiding spot. Claire froze, heart pounding, as the beam passed inches from her. She dared to look up at Marcus, wanting reassurance, but what she saw sent a chill running through her veins. His face was lined with shadows she had never seen. And then she noticed it. A glint at his wrist. A watch that wasn't his. A high-tech device that looked suspiciously like something she had seen in that message from Musk. "What? Why are you wearing that?" Claire's voice trembled, piecing together a puzzle that threatened to break her. You're not involved in this, are you?" But before he could answer, A loud shout rang through the night. "We know you're in there! Come out!" The air thickened with dread. Was Marcus truly who she thought he was? Or was this moment the beginning of something much darker? Confusion spun in her mind, twisting her thoughts into a frenetic ball of fear and suspicion. The crowd continued to flow by, oblivious. The world felt surreal, one moment of clarity drowning in chaos. Without thinking, Claire's hand tightened around Marcus's wrist, dragging him deeper into the darkness. As the footsteps neared and the thunder crashed, reality slipped further away. There was no going back now. A screen flickered as Claire pressed open. A rush of adrenaline sparked through her fingertips, flooding her with heat. The cryptic message danced across the screen, reshaping itself into something unexpected, something almost human. "You are not who you think you are." Oh! A chill crept down her spine. Claire's breath caught in her throat. What did that mean? Was this some kind of cruel joke? She stared, heart hammering, at the words that shifted around her reality. Like a thief in the night, she felt the ground beneath her feet wobble, a dark, ominous tremor shaking her core. Suddenly, all the noise from the city faded. The sirens, the laughter, they dimmed to a distant hum, leaving just her and that message. Confusion twisted into dread, wrapping around her heart. Was she prepared for the truth? The downpour drummed fiercely overhead, matching the frantic rhythm of her thoughts. She could barely think straight. And then she heard it, a soft voice breaking through the storm, calling her name. Claire. It resonated low and haunting. The hooded figure behind her shifted, stepping closer, their intent unreadable in the pouring rain. As they moved into the light, her pulse quickened. It was him, a man she thought she'd never see again. "Dad?" she gasped, shock cascading through her. His face was worn and twisted by the years, but the familiarity was jarring. Memories flooded back, of whispers and shadows, a childhood defined by absence. "What are you doing here?" "How?" He flinched at her voice, glancing around as if the very air held conspiracies. "You need to listen, Claire. The message, it's not just random. It's about you, about us." The world spiraled. She built her life on the fragile threads of the unknown, the mystery of his departure gnawing at her for years. "What do you mean? I don't understand." Your mother didn't tell you everything." His words cut like glass. Every syllable felt like a weight crushing her chest. "You're more than you think. You have a legacy, Claire. This world, it's watching." "What legacy?" she whispered, her insides a twisted knot. "What are you talking about?" With trembling hands, he produced a small, worn-out envelope from his pocket. The paper was yellowing, edges frayed. He offered it to her, eyes reflecting the chaos around them. "Read this! But be careful. There are people who don't want you to know." And just as she reached for the envelope, a blinding flash illuminated the street. Gunshots erupted, sharp cracks that shattered the night. Claire screamed instinctively, eyes wide. She ducked, heart racing, adrenaline flooding her senses. The figure she had just recognized dashed forward, a violent blur, pushing her out of the line of fire. "Run!" he shouted, but it didn't matter. Everything unraveled in an explosion of sound and panic. Clarity slipped away like water through her fingers. Her father was there one moment, the next, lost in the chaos. Claire's focus snapped to the shadows behind him, men in dark coats moving fast, slipping like ghosts through the storm. As everything surged around her, she lunged, scrambling to her feet as fear clawed at her insides. She had to know. What was in that envelope? What had her father left behind? Suddenly, the stakes were skyrocketing, higher than she could ever have imagined. But before she could discover anything, a hand grabbed her wrist, yanking her backward into the darkness. The familiar face of the stranger suddenly loomed closer, eyes glinting with danger, and something else. Recognition? "Come with me if you want to survive." The intensity in his voice held her captive, and Claire froze, caught between the swirling shadows of her past and the collapsing future before her. Her heart pounded against her chest, confusion tightening like a vice. Who was this guy really? And what did it mean for her journey ahead? The storm didn't care. It only raged louder as she made a choice, slipping into the unknown. The moment Claire pressed open, the screen flashed. The message wasn't just words. A video began to play. Hesitant, she leaned closer, heart racing in sync with the storm around her. The grainy image revealed a dimly lit room, walls lined with monitors, flickering chaotic numbers, the air heavy with urgency. And then she saw him, Elon Musk, staring straight into the camera, an intense look in his eyes. "Claire," he said, voice low, each syllable dripping importance. "I need you to listen carefully." Claire's heart thudded louder. This couldn't be real. Her skepticism battled with her desperate hope. The video went on, layers of opportunity unfurling like a map of unknown roads. "You've been chosen to lead a revolutionary project in tech," he continued, "but you must make a choice, and it will change everything." Before she could even digest that, the screen cut to another clip, an aerial shot of her neighborhood. The buzzing machines hummed like angry bees, zooming in on her own crumbling apartment. "The project is bigger than you realize," he said, "and you are at the center of it." But then, as if a switch had been flipped, the screen snapped to static. Claire's heart raced, her breath quickened. She looked around nervously, the rain thrumming louder, as if nature itself was winded from the tension building in her chest. The message flashed once more. "You need to make the choice within 3 minutes. Failure to act will have consequences." Just as confusion gripped her, she felt a cold chill scrape down her spine. The figure from before emerged from the fog, stepping closer, revealing a twisted smile that chilled her blood. The hoodie fell away. It was Marcus, the homeless man she'd seen around her block, and he held something glimmering in his hand. A knife. "Choosing, are we?" he sneered, voice dripping with false sweetness. "You really think you can make it out? You don't deserve it." The words sliced through the night, like lightning illuminating a dark sky. Claire's breath caught in her throat. She darted her eyes to her phone. The countdown blared on the screen. 2 minutes, 30 seconds. It felt like the air had been sucked out of the storm. It tightened around her, forcing tears to prick at her eyes. "Marcus, please, I don't know what this is." She took a step back, but the rain soaked her shoes and the ground felt slippery. With a swift motion, Marcus lunged forward, his blade flashing in the rain-drenched light. "You think you can just run off with secrets, breathe deep into life? I know what you are hiding, Claire." "No!" she screamed, but it was too late. The knife glinted just inches from her chest, and suddenly the overwhelming chaos transformed. The storm stilled, the city washed away in a blink. It was as if time itself had paused, the entire world circling back to that moment, the weight of her father's legacy slamming against her. With barely a second to think, she reached into her pocket and pulled out her own knife, a relic from a time of desperation. "You don't understand," she stammered, even as her hands shook violently. And then it hit her, a memory. A boy, a promise made in secret, hidden behind a smile. The mystery of her father surged to the forefront of her mind, a question clawing its way to the surface. What if Marcus knew the truth? What if he wasn't just a nobody? "Let's find out who you really are," she whispered, eyes locked on his, the storm suddenly roaring back to life. The boundaries of her known world splintered, swirling into chaos. The countdown held tight, reality inching closer to betrayal. The rain poured down, hiding everything beneath its disguise, and they both stood on the edge of a truth neither was prepared for. What could a message from Elon Musk hold when the real secrets lay between them? A heartbeat echoed in the white noise. A fateful decision hovering in the air. Would she take the leap or fall deeper into darkness? The tension hung thick in the air as Claire locked eyes with Marcus, the moment stretching like a taut wire. The countdown loomed, the weight of unspoken secrets pressing against her chest. "Let's find out who you really are," she whispered, adrenaline coursing through her veins. But just as she braced herself, suddenly a deafening roar pierced the storm. An explosion erupted from the shadows, a brilliant flash illuminating the alley. Claire staggered back, heart in her throat, the wondrous shock hitting her like a fist. Smoke billowed where the SUV had parked, drowning the street in chaos. "Get down!" Marcus shouted as he yanked her back. She stumbled, the grip of shock holding her blood to a simmer. "Ha ha!" A collective gasp erupted from the crowd, who now watched from a distance, confusion painted on their faces. White-knuckled phones raised, recording every moment. Within the cloud of dust and debris, figures emerged, silhouettes blurred but moving with intent. Men in dark suits, faces grim under flickering street lamps. But what pulled Claire's attention wasn't just the chaos. No, it was the figure in the center. As the smoke began to clear, her eyes widened in disbelief. Elon Musk stepped out, but he wasn't alone. Right beside him was her mother, eyes wide, expression haunted. "Mom!" Claire's voice broke, confusion shredding her apart. "What? How?" The world blurred around her. A rush of anger mingled with confusion. "You've known him?" she shouted, but her mother's eyes only fell, filled with a wild panic that sent chills down Claire's spine. "Claire, please," her mother urged, stepping forward, fear crackling between them. But before Claire could process it, something shifted in the atmosphere. Musk raised a hand, blood glistening on his sleeve. "We need to talk. Now." He turned. Scanning the alley, as if the storm itself was alive and listening. "What's happening?" Claire shouted, but it felt like she was shouting into the void. "Things have changed," Musk barked, urgency flashing in his eyes. "They're watching!" He pointed toward the shadows, where the streetlights struggled against the encroaching gloom. "They've been here all along." And then it hit her, a shocking wave. "What do you mean?" she gasped, desperately trying to connect dots, each moving too fast for her to grasp. From the edge of the chaos, Marcus stepped forward again, anger flaring in his eyes. "You don't understand. They're not just after you. They're after—" "After what?" Claire shouted. "Stop talking in riddles." But just then, a piercing scream sliced through the night. A figure stumbled from the alley, one of the men in suits. Blood poured from a wound, eyes wide with terror. "They're coming! They know!" he shouted, collapsing to the ground. His body hit the pavement with a thud, silence crashing in like a tidal wave. And in that moment, the world stood still. A haunting realization seized Claire. She felt time tighten, threads of truth pulling taut around her. Musk's face twisted into something almost unrecognizable. "We're running out of time, and you need to know the truth." "Tell me," she choked out, her breathing quickening, desperate for clarity. Just as he opened his mouth, an armored van screeched to a halt, tires screeching. The doors flung open, men in tactical gear spilling out, weapons drawn, scanning the chaos with cold precision. Claire's heart dropped. Everything felt like it was happening at once, threads of reality tangling around her. The tension sparked like electricity, the world erupting into pandemonium again. "Go!" Musk ordered, pushing her forward, panic coursing through every word. "Get out! We'll explain later." But as Claire stumbled back, trying to process the chaos into something coherent, Marcus turned, eyes blazing with conviction. "You need to know the truth," he urged urgently, stepping toward her with a desperate fire. "The truth about your father." But before he could finish, bullets flew, ripping through the night. They whizzed past Claire's ears, and the familiar sound of chaos spun around her. Everyone screamed, panic unfurling like a terrible flower. And in that moment, Claire felt her reality splinter. The ground underneath her cracked with uncertainty. "What the hell is happening?" she whispered, her heart pounding wildly. Did it all lead here? Trapped between violence and truth, Claire's mind raced. She caught her mother's eye, fear mirrored back. The pieces of her life scattered in a whirlwind, and every breath felt pivotal. Then, a flash. A figure appeared, cloaked in darkness. "The truth is coming, Claire!" "You set everything in motion." She froze, recognizing the voice. It belonged to the man she hated, but never truly understood. Her father. "Dad?" she gasped. Everything shattered. The moment shattered like glass. Echoes rippling through the chaos. Claire's breath hitched, confusion swirling in her chest. "Dad?" she whispered, disbelief hanging in the air, heavy like the rain. He stepped forward, urgency etched on his face. "You're in danger, Claire. We have to leave. Now!" But everything around them fell still. The world blurred, honking cars and shouting voices fading into a distant noise. The men in tactical gear moved closer, their eyes scanning with a predatory focus. Tension crackled in the air, and Claire felt every heartbeat pound like a warning drum. "Why are you here?" she demanded, her voice shaky but loud enough to pierce the silence. "I came for you!" he shouted, desperation giving way to more urgency. "You don't understand what's at stake!" Before she could reply, a sound pierced the chaos. A loud, booming crash echoed as something large struck the ground behind them, sending shockwaves that knocked Claire off balance. Dust and debris filled the air, a thick cloud choking everything in sight. "Get down!" Marcus shouted, pulling her to the ground just as bullets whizzed past, ringing through the fog of confusion. Claire's heart raced, fear flooding her veins. Then, through the settling dust, another figure appeared. A man with a fierce glare, face partially obscured. He stepped forward, brandishing a weapon. But in a heartbeat, the chaos morphed into something unthinkable. The man reached out. Claire, a tremor coursed through her. "No!" she murmured, eyes widening. That voice, that face, it looked just like her father, but different, smoother, darker. Something deeply wrong twisted in her gut. "Let me explain," he roared at the troops, his voice as commanding as it was familiar. "The time is now. She is the key." Those words landed heavily, rattling through her. Key? To what? Her pulse thrummed, panic mixing with confusion. She felt pulled in multiple directions, a tug of war within her soul. The world exploded again. The SUV doors burst open, and more men clad in armor poured out, weapons raised, eyes locked on her. "We need the girl," a voice called out, slicing through the chaos. "Run!" Marcus yelled, grabbing Claire's hand. But Claire stood frozen, still staring at the strange man, her father's doppelganger, realization dawning. You knew everything!" "No," he shouted. Desperation etched into his features, hands raised as if to calm her. "I'm trying to save you." And then it happened. A flash of silver, quick as a breath, spiraled through the air. In a blink, it struck home, right beside her father. A knife embedded deep into his side, blood blossoming like a dark rose against the rain-soaked ground. "Dad!" Claire screamed, her voice erupting through the chaos, breaking the frantic whirlwind of fear. Cries rang out. Marcus pulled her back, but she broke free, rushing toward the man who had once been her father. He crumpled, blood cascading, eyes flickering with surprise and pain. And in that moment, everything shattered. "Claire, it's not what you think," he gasped, breaths laboring as the world spun out of control. The man who looked like her father struggled to speak, his grasp fading. "You have to find the truth." As she reached out, the storm raged on, the night filled with confusion. Everything she thought she understood twisted into chaos. A surge of questions flooded her mind. Her father was alive, but was he the man she adored, or a threat cloaked in shadows? In the back of her mind, a spark of hope flickered. Could this man be the key to unlocking the wild secrets of her past? Or was he the embodiment of her worst fears? She froze in place, realization dawning painfully. The truth was not just hidden, it was bleeding out in front of her. As sirens wailed, and chaos grew louder. The entire world felt like it was collapsing in on itself. Claire stood at the edge of a dark, twisted mystery, her heart racing, thoughts swirling. What lay beyond this moment? What would she discover now? And just as everything felt like it was falling apart, the ground beneath her shattered, reaching out with unknown horrors. The stakes had never been higher, and Claire knew she was caught in a game far beyond her understanding. One that left her breathless in the storm of confusion, desperate for the truth to save her. Claire knelt on the ground, heart pounding as she stared at the figure crumpling before her. Her father, her real father, surrendering to the darkness that surrounded them. Blood pooled beneath him, rain mixing with the red, washing away every fleeting memory she held dear. "Dad, no!" she cried, voice cracking. Desesperación surgió. She gripped his hand, raw and trembling. "Please, don't leave me." He looked up, eyes still alive with the fire of truth. "You must know the truth, Claire. It's all connected," he gasped. "Musk is not your enemy. He's trying to protect you." What did that even mean? Confusion clawed at her mind. She turned to Marcus, who had taken a step forward, eyes wide. "Claire, we have to go, now!" he yelled, urgency in every word. But she felt trapped, anchored to the pain that swirled around her. "I can't just leave him!" "Listen to him!" her mother shouted, desperation twisting her features. "The truth will come, but not now." The thunder roared again, drowning out their voices. Claire's world felt like it was crumbling, pieces shattering around them. Her heart raced as she fought the panic, uncertainty pushing against her. "No! I won't let him die," she declared to the chaos. The rain drummed higher, urgency amplifying every heartbeat. Just then, the sound of sirens sliced through the night air. Red and blue lights flooded the alley as police cars screeched to a halt. "Get down!" an officer shouted, their menacing presence solid and unyielding. The air crackled with a new tension. The men in dark suits were still advancing, and Claire felt adrenaline spike. "We need to do something! Claire, help me!" her father urged gently, his voice weak but filled with love. "No," she whimpered, horror creeping in. She couldn't let him go. But Marcus seemed to sense her torment. "We're running out of time. The truth you need, it's in danger. Get it!" With a final, desperate look in her father's eyes, she made a choice. Something began to shift inside her. "I can't leave him, but I won't let this end here." Suddenly, she surged forward, gripping the envelope he had tried to give her moments before. She tore it open. Inside, a map and a key. Hope ignited, cracking through her despair. "I'll find the truth!" she shouted defiantly, feeling the weight of the world momentarily lift. The sirens howled closer, and chaos reigned. "Get her!" the tactical men bellowed, their eyes locking onto Claire's resolve. "Let's go!" Marcus grasped her wrist and pulled her towards the shadows. Claire glanced back one last time at her father and mother, their faces coated with love and pain. "I'll find you!" she swore, racing ahead into the night. Their footsteps echoed, pounding against the rain-soaked pavement as they dove into the depths of the alley. Darkness enveloped them. They ran with a hope that flickered, uncertain but alive. this was just the beginning. As the world blurred behind her, Claire felt the flicker of the truth warming within. Her heart raced with fear, but also with determination. She would uncover the layers, every secret, every betrayal. But more importantly, she would discover who she truly was. And in that moment of escape, the tension split, a breath lingering in the damp air. She knew she had to find that truth, the truth that awaited just beyond the dark. And if you want to join Claire's journey, you have to subscribe now. Don't miss out on what's to come. You'll be left in the dark if you don't hit that red button. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm. Your support makes all the difference. Flood the comment section with your thoughts and theories. What do you think happens next? I want to hear from each of you. And please, don't wait even a second longer to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to know about this ending. This is the moment to show your support, and true fans know it's vital. Oh!